Welcome to the special call meeting of the Danville City Commission. The evening is Monday, March the 28th, 2022. I call us all to order and ask that we be led in a prayer by Commissioner James Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Those in attendance and those who are watching, I'd like for you to just observe a moment of silence. This moment of silence is in reference to the state of our world today, and ask for blessings for all of our leaders throughout this country and throughout the world, and a prayer for peace.
Thank you, sir. I'd ask Commissioner Holland to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ma'am. Commission, I've heard nothing from you since Friday afternoon, so I will assume the agenda meets your approval. We'll move right into the section we call Hear the Public. This is the public's opportunity to take 3 minutes at the podium on any item that is on tonight's agenda. There'll be similar opportunity in just a few minutes to do the same on any item not on tonight's agenda. So is there anybody who wants to speak on any agenda item? Seeing none, we will move right along with the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, that being Monday, March the 14th. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the March 14, 2022 minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cottle, thank you. Discussion? Madam Clerk, on item 11, it might be easier for historical purposes if you just kind of broke that whole paragraph down into about three different components in there. That's all. Other than that, do I hear any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 2 is the proclamation for National Child Abuse Prevention Month. I'll ask Commissioner Terry if she would do us the favor of reading that, please.
Yes, as soon as I get it to where it's big enough I can see it.
Yeah, go ahead. Take what you want.
This is the proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas children are vital to our state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets. And whereas all children deserve to have the safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities they need to foster their healthy growth and development. And whereas child abuse and neglect is a community responsibility affecting both the current and future quality of life of a community. Whereas communities that provide parents with social support, knowledge of parenting and child development, and concrete resources they need to cope with stress and nurture their children, ensure all children grow to their full potential. Whereas effective child abuse prevention strategies succeed because of partnerships created among citizens, human service agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now therefore, be it resolved that Mayor G. Michael Parris and the City Commissioners of the City of Danville on this 28th day of March 2022 recognize April as Child Abuse Prevention Month and urge all citizens to increase their participation in the efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the community in which we live.
Do I hear a motion for the proclamation?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Holland. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Terry, thank you. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 3 is a proclamation for National Fair Housing Month. I'm going to ask Commissioner Atkins if he would read that one, please.
Okay. Proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention. Oh, that's the same one, isn't it? We're dealing with a new format tonight, folks, so bear with us. Proclamation National Fair Housing Month. Whereas the Fair Housing Act enacted on April 11th, 1968, enshrined into federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, family status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients of federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas our social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened in diverse, inclusive communities. And whereas more than 50 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Act, discrimination persists and many communities remain segregated. And whereas the city of Danville passed an ordinance in June 2014 prohibiting discrimination against individuals on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, age, family status, disability, gender identity, and sexual orientation, and creates an administrative procedure for enforcement. And whereas the city of Danville is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all, therefore be it resolved that Mayor Michael Parris and the Board of Commissioners of the city of Danville do hereby proclaim the month of April 2022 as National Fair Housing Month, and encourage all private and public entities to provide and advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of the city of Danville, Kentucky.
Do we hear a motion for the resolution or proclamation?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Cardle. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Holland, thank you, ma'am. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Item 4 is a certificate of, what's the A stand for?
Appropriateness.
Thank you. It's an appeal, and this is with respect to 305 West Main Street. You have received a memo from Counselor Stephen Dexter giving us guidelines to inform ourselves. I'm assuming you want to have a comment in here?
I can do that to coordinate the conversation for the evening. This is a little bit unlike some of the other functions that come before you, in that through when the DHB makes that decision then and an applicant files an appeal with you, it's a de novo hearing, which is essentially a hearing from the start by definition. So there's really not a lot of decisions to make as far as what you hear, how you do that. It's simply a matter of protocol. Really the discussion in front of you is to make sure you didn't have any questions around what it actually was presented to you, in that it was a application that went before DHB that was denied, and the owner has filed an appeal to this board. And so therefore then the process becomes a de novo hearing, and we would ask you when you would like to do that. And so we have 30 days, which I think is the 15th of April. And so to make a decision or to have that hearing, our suggestion would be to do it at 4 p.m. before the next regular scheduled meeting, which is the 11th of April, unless you want to do something, a special call meeting or to try to do it at a budget meeting. We would probably suggest just doing it.
I'd like to do this as soon as possible. I'm going to ask HR Director Randy Boyd, is there a reason you need to see all of us in this enrollment period?
Yeah, just, it's really for your benefit to see, so you understand the plans as plan members, and then also if you make any changes, just like you need to see.
So if by chance we could all convene to do that, then we could also convene a special call meeting to address this subject.
It's up to you all. We'll try to accommodate that if that's the approach you would like to take.
On Wednesday?
Or, so Wednesday, you're referring to Wednesday?
The 30th?
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes. And so what time you want to do that?
What time are we supposed to start that day?
I would suggest, will Dexter be back by then? Yeah, the only caveat would be I would suggest you have counsel at the meeting. And so I don't think Stephen will be back on the 30th or be available on the 30th, I think is the correct word.
He's out all this week.
I think that's the case, yes. We have and next week being spring break, not everyone was here to begin with. Not everyone's here after Thursday of this week, which is why we moved the budget meeting to Wednesday.
So next week?
So it is probably out because it's spring break and not all the commissioners were going to be here that week.
Have we asked all the commissioners? I'm going to be here. Anybody else going to be here?
I'm here.
I don't have anywhere else to go.
Are you saying be here by the
we won't be
11th, or be here, what's the question? The 4th through the 8th?
Are you going to be here the 4th through the 8th?
But I don't think Stephen, the council's gonna be
Yeah,
available.
he'll be here that week.
Yeah.
Stephen will be here next week, as we
Okay.
understand it. So we could do it
Yeah, I'm fine with the 4th through
the
the 8th.
5th.
And you can't join us? Okay.
Will you be here, Earl?
I will not be here on the 4th.
That's all right.
So in order to have you and Mr. Dexter here, we would have to go to the week of the 10th?
It'd be,
Is that what I'm
well,
hearing?
the 5th, 6th, or 7th, but to have everyone in attendance, it would have to be the week of the 11th, that's the first day of that week which is why we picked it.
First
That's the
meeting day.
earliest where we know everyone will be here. Right.
But that still puts us well within the time frame.
The timeframe would be Friday, the 15th. So yes, if you met on Monday at 4 PM, then that would give you a chance to just have that hearing and then proceed after that with your regular commission meeting that evening.
If we meet on the 4th, can we take action on the 4th?
You can take action at the conclusion of the hearing, yes.
What's your pleasure, ladies and gentlemen? I'd like to help these people get on down the road with this.
That was my thinking, was trying to get the applicant taken care of as soon as possible. But I do feel like it would probably be best if we did have counsel here for that.
But he's going to be here that week, right?
But he'll be here the week of the 4th.
4th, yes.
He will be here the week of the 4th, but I don't think all the commission will be here, I think.
Jenny said she's going to be gone,
Correct,
but that's 4 out of 5.
correct.
And then you will not be here, but we don't necessarily need you.
I will not be here on the 4th. I'll be here the rest of the time.
We don't
He
need you.
hears that all the time.
Yeah, no,
You
that's-
won't be here on the 4th? Will you be here on the 5th? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, well, Commissioner, what do you want to do, the 4th or the 5th? Somebody throw a number up.
Let's do the 5th,
let's
that
do the
way,
5th.
if, that, we're
What-
not putting that on Stephen on his very first day back.
What time? 10 a.m.?
Several of us have a meeting on the 5th, 11:30 with Bluegrass Community Action. So that's at 11:30, so it needs to probably be later in the afternoon, because there's also a meeting at 2 o'clock.
Well, you want to meet at noon, you want to meet at 1, you want to meet at 10?
I feel better doing it, say, around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock myself.
Yeah.
4 o'clock, let's do 4 o'clock.
on the 5th.
All right?
The 5th at 4 o'clock.
Yep,
Okay.
all right, good, thank you. Okay, item 5 is resolution number 2022-03-28-01. This is our health benefits plan contract proposal, Mr. Boyd. And
good evening,
if I
everyone.
may remind you again, speak up.
Is that better?
Not really.
Okay.
Can we turn your
Well-
volume up on his mic?
Well, I'll tell you what, how about I just yell real loud? Is
There
that
you go.
okay? All right, so this was, so this is a follow-up to our proposal that staff presented on the 14th for our health insurance contracts for the 2022-2023 plan year. So right now, we're presenting to you the actual contracts for signature. And I'm just going to summarize just the bullet points of the providers that we proposed on the 14th, but also there are three addendums here that we wanted to bring in as additional items, and I'll go through those last. But so our third-party administrator for our medical is ARC that we proposed. Medical carrier is Anthem. Stop loss reinsurance is Companion. Our pharmacy benefit manager is TrueRx. Pharmacy assistance vendor is going to be Sharks. Dental is Delta Dental of Kentucky. Vision is VSP. And then all of our life insurance offerings, which includes basic, voluntary life, and our disability plans is going through the Hartford Group. Okay. One item at the bottom of the memo that I presented is we had originally omitted on accident our organ transplant carrier, which is Tokyo Marine HCC. We actually had them as part of our organ transplant on the last benefit plan. We wanted to keep those. The cost for that is $25,249, but that cost was actually included in the original financial proposal that were presented. We just forgot to include them in the original proposal that we drafted on the 14th. Now, three other additional items that we're recommending. These are no-cost plans to the city, but they are supplemental offerings that we've worked with in conjunction with our broker, Johnson & Pullman, to basically provide value-added services to the city employees, and so we're recommending contract signed with Colonial Life. The city currently works with Colonial for a couple of voluntary plans, but we have actually expanded those offerings to include 4 plan offerings. And again, these are 100% employee cost plans, but they help bridge the gap with co-insurance and things of that nature under their group plan. Another thing that we're actually offering too is a supplemental contract with a company called Massa. And what this is for medical transport. It's a supplemental program that employees can buy in that covers air transport, ground transport. We all know how expensive that is. And the supplemental provides an additional value to the employees to offset some of those out-of-pocket expenses. And the last one is, in the packet that we gave you is for Flores. This is for our COBRA administrator. There is a cost to this, but Pill and Holland has agreed during our contract negotiations to absorb all the costs for that. So these 3 carriers will not cost the city any money, but will add value to the plan. Okay. And that is it.
Any questions for Mr. Boyd? Very good. We need a motion for the resolution. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval of resolution 2022-032801.
Mr. Cardle, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioners Terry and Commissioners Atkins, second and third. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Resolution number 2022-03-28-02. This is a safety grant application. Ms. Rader, proceed.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. This is just our annual KLC safety grant application that we're asking permission to do. It's a $3,000 grant with the 50-50 match from the city. We use it for PPE, cones, signage, things like that.
Do I hear a motion for the resolution?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2022-03-2802.
Thanks, Commissioner Holland. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cardles and Commissioner Terry, second, third. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 7, City Manager Report. Mr. Coffey, it's yours.
Thank you, Mayor Commissioners. First thing I'd like to do is remind you that we do have a budget meeting this Wednesday, 9 a.m. here in City Hall. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the restrictions that we have on our commission meetings. Given the state of COVID and the pandemic, what we are going to do is open the meetings back up. As per your last action that you took, it gave us administrative authority to react based on the overall incident rate of the county. And what we're suggesting is that we open our meetings back up with the 11th meeting to just our normal business conduct, which would mean it would be a regular meeting and no longer a special call meeting. We can talk about the EDA a little bit. I'd like to give you an update there. We think that there will be a recommendation from the EDA chair that is distributed soon, talking about the activities and discussions so far, and the mayor may want to elaborate on that a little bit, but we think that through various conversations and research over the last few months, that the EDA has endorsed a recommendation that it's going to communicate outwardly, but to send to the EP as far as recommended revision to the organizational structure, and we're excited about that. We believe that it will accomplish a more nimble economic development board, a more nimble arrangement with better coordination and improved oversight of our system. And so we're excited about that, and we would just like to put that on your radar and let you know that the EDA has been doing some things. I'm not their secretary, but certainly the mayor, do you have anything you would like to add?
I'll just wait until we get to that point.
Yep, right.
No point in duplicating.
Nope, I just wanted to let you all know as
Yeah.
a follow-up. And then we have in our hand a recommendation or a proposal from KLC to work on the comp plan. We are working through that, and we should have that on the next agenda for you all to officially approve, and then we'll get started. We did meet with Planning and Zoning Director a little bit in last week. We thank him for coming by and talk through that just briefly. There's a lot more coordination that we should do. Part of that is what we want to do is sit down with him and Engineering 2 to review the current issues that have been raised, some by you all as individuals, others during the meetings, to look at various of the issues that maybe we can propose some intermediate adjustments to our administration of those, or something to try to create a little bit more clarity as we go into decisions such as zone changes. There seems to be a little bit of confusion, so we as staff will work on that and report back to you as we have a few of those conversations, or at least one, to get started, and we'll see what that looks like. I know given the feedback that we've gotten, there's certainly an interest in us doing that as a group, and we'll do that administratively. I want to let you know that. We also have talked a little bit about the community liaison position. We'll be bringing that up so that, and that would support part of the economic development structure. We've talked about is adding a person in-house to facilitate things like just communication with the business community, and also would support things like the newsletter, for example. I know that's still on the mayor's mind. We will come up with a proposal on that. What we'd like to do is consider that both during the budget process. So with our first budget meeting Wednesday, we believe we would be in a position by the 11th to affirm whether or not we would have the resources to do that moving into July. And so if it's something you all are interested in, I know I've talked to you individually about that over the course of time. If that's something that is intriguing to you, we would ask, and we would provide you a job description probably on the 11th. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out, and we'll try to be prepared to address those publicly then on the 11th, and we'll propose that position then. That's all I have, unless you all have something.
We'll move right, thank you, sir. We'll move right on into the Hear the Public. As I promised, this is the public's opportunity. Take 3 minutes to discuss any item that has not been on tonight's agenda. Magistrate Ellis, welcome.
How you doing? You good?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm here in the official capacity as Magistrate for District 1, Western Boyle County, and with the encouragement of Carlos Miller, the mayor of Perryville. Mayor Paris and I spoke, I believe it was back in September for the first time, about the possibility with the new Tuggle water tower that we should consider the opportunity to bring antenna for EMS, for fire, for sheriff's office, police, all sorts of protections and communication, even down to the students who've, over the past couple of years, had difficulty getting hooked up on their computers for educational purposes. Back in 1985, when we built the Blue Cross building in Louisville at Hurstburn and I-64, that was already one of the highest points in Jefferson County. And then our building was over 12 stories tall. We invited EMS, fire, police, sheriff's office for both Jeffersontown and for the city of Louisville. We had 11 or 12 of the antenna on top of that building. That was done gratis by Blue Cross as a not-for-profit organization. When the mayor and I talked back in September, this obviously could be a revenue stream. Just 2 weeks ago, T-Mobile contacted Mayor Carlos Miller with the idea that they would like to look at the westernmost older tower as a possibility for antenna. Earlier than that, way back even before the new tower was opened up on White's Ridge in my district, we were talking with AT&T for similar things because both Mr. Coffey and the mayor had alerted us that we would eventually have that new tower at Tuggle. So I'm here today just to open the discussion, the possibility of using both of those water towers to increase the communication all over the county for all sorts of services that I've already mentioned. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I'm going to break with protocol, and I'm going to ask City Manager if he has any update or comment you'd like to share for the good of the order.
I can do that. We already have cell equipment on the west end tank, which is what we refer to the one west of town. I'm sure the Tuggle Road tank will be something that may have a radio on it at some time. On the 5th, we're meeting with the county judge. We're meeting with the emergency management director to talk about radios and coordination of those. And so that's an ongoing conversation. And we will follow up with them at that meeting and certainly can include that in a report in the future to the commission.
Very encouraging. Any other questions, any comments?
I have a
Good to see you.
Go ahead. You got
No.
anything? I have a comment. Don't you think it's a good idea that the county do something similar to this? Let the public have 3 minutes at the podium to,
I concur.
then
That succinctly.
I look forward to you bringing that up.
That will happen on the 12th when we reconvene.
Excellent.
Thank you,
sir.
Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you very much.
Let you get on to your next meeting.
I've got one.
Have a good evening.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Here comes the Queen.
My name is Margaret Calhoun. I have a concern about the wrecked cars on South Second Street and the end of Duncan Hill. They placed a white line where they shouldn't go over that line, but they ain't studying about that white line. They still doing what they want to do. And I think it makes the neighborhood look bad, and I think you need to have them move it and take it somewhere else. Because a lot of them having complaints when they come off of Duncan Hill. They can't see going up towards town what's coming down the hill. They have to get halfway out in the road. And the police ain't doing nothing. They see it themselves and just drive on by because I've seen it for myself. And that's all I got to say. So something need to be done.
Thank you, ma'am. Once again, for the good of the order, I'm going to break with protocol and ask the city manager to provide any input.
That is an ongoing location that we do monitor. I think all of our various departments are aware of several different issues around that footprint, and certainly it's something that we are responsive to, and we've encouraged the citizens to reach out when they observe an issue, and I think we appreciate the citizens that live around that are impacted, and because I think we have received a lot of good feedback from them and good communication, and we appreciate that a lot as staff.
Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? We'll move right on to commissioner comments. We'll begin with age before beauty, Mr. Atkins.
You call my name out? I'm gonna pass myself. We're gonna,
You gonna pass?
yes, sir.
All right.
I don't have any. Everything's been covered.
Commissioner Terry?
I had a question about these dividers. Are we going to take these down?
That's up to you all. We will let you all tell us if you all want those up or
This
not.
one's gonna stay regardless.
Do you want me to tint that, Kevin? So
I
you have a
feel
little
very
bit
protected with this.
improved privacy on your
Yes,
side of that
absolutely.
sign there, yeah. No, that's up to you all. If y'all want them gone, we can certainly do that, yeah.
It makes it difficult to hear for me.
We can do
Everybody
it.
good with that?
No,
Nod your head.
That's fine.
Don't take mine down. Jen and I can't get along. Don't take mine down.
I think that's a yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Couple more things, actually. The Boyle County Archery Team did very well at state, and one young man actually was the winner overall of the state archery competition. I'd like to try to get them in here to recognize that. I do not have his name, I apologize. Young man that won overall, but then, I'd like to recognize the whole team. And I do think the newsletter or of some sort is very important in the next few months because of everything we have going on. I know we've had some discussion about that, but I do think something, paper in the mail, is going to help get the word out about the things that are going to be happening this summer.
Yeah, we would like to send something out in paper in April, which is the end of the first
Yeah,
quarter.
I think we probably need to do that a couple of times.
Yep.
Before construction starts, and then let everyone know what the changes are.
Yeah, we're going to have a very disruptive summer downtown, no doubt.
So Earl, I know for me personally, if I don't put a date to it, then it's probably not going to happen by then. You want to put a date to this?
We want to send something out in the mail in the month of April, so by the end of April, yes, sir.
So the 29th of April.
Representing the first quarter.
Okay.
Right.
Last week of April. Great. Anything else? Commissioner Caudle?
Just gonna congratulate Shepherd's House. They're gonna celebrate their 5th anniversary on Friday. They've done a lot of good around here for a long time, and from what they started from to where they are is pretty amazing, so appreciate what they do.
A couple of things. We started down the road of having a joint city-county planning and zoning meeting. I think we ought to continue on with whatever we're going to do. We certainly should invite our counterparts at the county. And if 1 or 2 or 3 or all of them show up, then great. I'd like to go ahead and schedule something.
We'll get it back on the radar, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
The other thing is that I know Commissioner Terry has brought it to our attention for some time now about homelessness. There's an interesting article in today's Herald Leader as to how Lexington is dealing with homelessness. Now, their government is obviously got quite a bigger budget than we do, and so their government is very much involved. I don't think we are in a position to do that. However, at some point, and I want to give this some thought, and I welcome your input. At some point, we got to put together some kind of working group to begin to kind of sort out what we can do, who should do it, how should it get done, who's to fund it, all those kinds of things. So if you want to be involved yourselves, or you know others that do, email them to me, and let's get something moving here.
Well, there's several groups in town that are working on this issue, individually as well as collectively, and I would refer us to the EDP task force that's working on it as a leading point to make contact and see about doing some kind of community-wide workshop about homelessness. And I know the Women's Network has had a couple of programs dealing with this topic, but there seems to be a lot of work around the community, but like you said, it's not coming together in one body, one group. So that would be my proposal.
Maybe we start with having the EDP folks make a presentation, tell us how far they've gotten down the road on this and what they've discovered.
Because they're working with the housing authority and they're working with some other groups in town as well.
Okay, good.
Just, who is Sue?
Anything else?
What's her last name?
That's all I've got. We'll move right on into the payment of the bills. Chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the bills as presented.
I'll make that motion to pay the bill list March the 28th, 2022, in the amount of $612,333.50.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Holland. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. You know, while we're on this subject of finance, at the earliest possible opportunity, I know our new finance officer has just now gotten her feet on the ground, but at her earliest opportunity, if she could come and just give us some information as to where we stand financially and some forecasting.
That's what you'll get Wednesday at your first budget meeting. So we held back as we've gotten, I guess, better oriented with Paylocity, and as we've gone through those issues. I know we've talked about it briefly before. We're there. We should have sufficient information to get started on the budget process for you and give you a little bit more knowledge and the comfort you're looking for. And then moving forward, she and I had the conversation today, the limitations of our existing software and getting the reports that we do are so manual, so much labor involved in creating them. And so we're working on that. We're well aware that that's a place where we do want to improve dramatically. We want the finances to be as transparent as everything else, for sure. So that's our target and our intention, and that's what we'll do.
Excellent. Did we have a vote on that, on payment of the bills?
Yes.
Okay, great. Item 9 is resolution number 2022-03-28-03. This is an agreement about some access. Mr. Carrier, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is in relation to, it's related to the Tuggle Road project, the tank project, but part of that project is the demolition of an existing standpipe on the east side of Paravel. And this property owner previously granted access to allow workers to go onto his property and do the work. That previous access agreement has expired, so we're just updating the dates on the agreement, which he's already signed, so.
Do I hear a motion for the resolution?
I move to pass resolution 2022-03-2803.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Terry, any discussion?
And I appreciate his cooperation.
Yes, sir. Very much so. No further comment. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 10 is the resolution number 2022-03-28-04. This is a RFP award with respect to utility bill printing. Again, Mr. Carrier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is in relation to an RFP that the city of Danville recently put out in relation to utility billing. Currently, we send out about 11,500 utility bills a month. And as everybody's probably aware, there's the little postcards. So there's a few things with that. Sometimes the post office has issues with those postcards. And it's not uncommon that maybe sometimes customers get other people's bills in the mail as well, because they don't get separated very well in the mailing process. Plus, there's not a really good way of providing a lot of information to that customer. So this was to look at bringing in Bluegrass Integrated Communications to outsource our billing. And in doing so, those customers will receive a typical bill, much like they have with KU and Erin County, like a typical envelope with a window on the front. But also, it allows the city to provide those customers more information on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper that we could go into informational provision to those customers. We can show usage rates over previous months, a lot of information that can be provided to those customers on a monthly basis that we feel like we want to be providing to those customers.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll move for approval of resolution number 2022-03-2804.
Thank you, Commissioner Terry. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Cottle, thank you. We are in discussion. Marshall, how much money, if any, will this save the city
Save about $8,500 a year for the city.
and make it better for the customer?
Yes, sir, that's the goal. One, to save money, which obviously transcends to the customers too, but also to provide as much information as we can to the customers.
Excellent.
Ideally for us, as we have improved payment methodologies over time, we would like to see an online portal for the customer to look at their own account, log in, and to have more information out there for their access on a minute-by-minute basis, really. So we do have a lot of improvement we need to do technology-wise, and we're working on that.
Good work, gentlemen. Thank you. Any further comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 11 is resolution number 2022-03-28-05. This is amendment number 3 with HDR and their contract. Mr. Carrier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an amendment to the current HDR contract to provide additional construction services for 5 months for the elevated tank project in the Perryville vicinity. This is to allow HDR to further review shop drawings, loan payments, contractor payments, and KIA review for the review authority. Total cost is $16,790.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2022-03-2805.
Thank you. Commissioner Hollins, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Cottle, thank you, sir. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 12 is resolution number 2022-03-28-06. This is a map modernization. Mr. Carey, we're getting our money's worth out of you tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Earl touched on some modernization from a technology standpoint, and this further points to that. This is in relation to modernizing our current mapping that we have here in the city. Right now, we have a lot of old paper maps, and we have some geospatial mapping done, but not nearly what we need to be in the modern time. So by doing this particular effort, we will be able to provide more efficiency of service to the customers, be able to provide more real-time data to those customers as far as billing status and also administratively here in the office, be able to monitor meter functionality, needs for change-outs, water loss, and also be able to better address geospatial locations for valves and hydrants and so on and so forth. So we're actually going to partner with the fire department as well to provide them more modernized information that they can also monitor and maintain as a partnership with us. So looking at about $1,000 a month from April to June 2022 to get us to the beginning of the fiscal year. And then from there on out, it's $2,000 a month until June 30th, 2023.
Do I hear a motion for the resolution?
Move for approval of Resolution 2022032806.
Thank you, Commissioner Cardle. Is there a second? Commissioner Holland, thank you. Discussion?
Is this going to be a savings in the long run?
Well, it will allow the city to be in a, from a technological standpoint, more in alignment with a lot of other communities.
Okay.
You know, right now, if there's a water line break or any kind of issue in the middle of the night, for example, our folks have to go out and resort to paper copies of maps and anything else that we may have, or those folks that have been around for so many years that happen to know where that valve is to turn it off. But, you know, if we can do this, this particular program and locate a lot of our facilities geospatially, those valves and whatnot, it helps us to better address the customer's concerns, reduce flooding issues, and reduce water loss. If we can have somebody go out there with a iPad or some type of tablet or something and be able to go out there and point to exactly where that valve is and get it shut down as soon as possible. Stuff like that, you know. Just better, it's just better for the city.
Thank you.
So is IT overseeing the GIS or each department?
Now, currently, we're looking at doing a GIS specialist in the future to help oversee
Right.
all the program. But as of right now, we wanted to go ahead and get this MOU in place with Lebanon Water, who will help us facilitate this whole program. So the good thing about that, too, is Lebanon Water has already been working with other cities, and they have these templates already built that we can actually, it's more like a cookie-cutter approach for us to walk right into instead of having to build it from the ground up. So they'll be able to aid the delivery of the program, too, and give us a point of resource.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about this. Plus new employees, they can find things easier without having to know all the history and the paper maps.
Yeah, it helps
Thank
with a
you.
lot of the changeover in utilities. You know how it is. I mean, you just have people that retire over the years, and lots of times they take with them that expertise, so.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the resolution motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 13 is resolution number 2022-03-28-07. This is a quote with respect to an asphalt hot box. Mr. Morgan.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. You have in your packet there a quote from Kaiser Morris International for an asphalt hot box. We got these quotes through Sourcewell. It's the same company we used to get quotes for the, I think it's for the fire truck. Is that correct, Earl?
Yes.
They help municipalities do quoting and bidding for equipment. And I was just discussing that because it'll come up at the next item as well. But it's $38,105 for the piece of equipment we would like to acquire. This was budgeted for this year, for this fiscal year. And this will just help Public Works be able to do a better job patching potholes, especially in the wintertime. It's something we actually
What is a hot box? Remind me again.
They put the cold mix asphalt in it and heat it up so that it becomes more malleable so they can do a better job patching.
Oh, okay. It sounded like something from Cool Hand Luke. They used to put Steve McQueen in there and made him sit for 30 days, but I wasn't sure.
They will actually have a lot more production using this. It will make it easier to.
And we've never had one before.
No.
And even in the summertime, they can keep what they get, they can keep it good longer as they work through the day. They don't have to get new, fresh, hot asphalt as the day goes along.
Yeah,
And
they'll get better yield and easier applicability.
Yeah, it does better when it's hot, I guess, when you,
Yes.
all right. Thank you.
Any further discussion or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 14 is resolution number 2022-03-28-08.
Wait a minute, we didn't have
We
a,
didn't have a first or a second for that resolution.
I'm going to make the motion.
And I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Cardle, Commissioner Terry, and thank you, ma'am, for keeping me on track. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Item 14 is resolution number 2022-03-28-08. This is a quote with respect to a street sweeper. Mr. Morgan, continue, sir.
So it's time once again for the city to buy a street sweeper. I think I was here last time. We bought one, 15 years ago, something
been a
like that.
while.
So the quote we received is for $237,370. This is well over budget from what we budgeted for this fiscal year. It was $175,000. Part of that is due to just price increases in general, as we've seen across the board, but also we had to upgrade to a little bit higher level truck than we anticipated due to not inability to get the truck that we were actually thinking about getting when we budgeted, due to inability to get supplies for those trucks. So, but it's a good truck. The staff is excited about it. This will be a long lead time. I think it's 9 to 10 months before we'll actually get the truck once we order it. But it's definitely a need. If you see the sweeper out right now, you might see a lot of dust because our water supply system is going in and out pretty bad. So it's definitely a need for us, and it's lasted us 15 years. It's done a good job for us.
It's what you would call fully depreciated.
Will we surplus it, I guess? And-
We can. We also, there's, I guess you would probably sell it. Hope somebody buys it, I guess.
Yeah, I think we could surplus it.
Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll move for approval of Resolution 2022-03-2808.
Thank you, Commissioner Terry. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Atkins, thank you. Any further discussion, questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 15 is resolution number 2022-03-28-09. This is a grant with respect to Stanford Avenue Crossing. Mr. Morgan, continue, sir.
Yes, the city received a letter last, I guess almost 2 weeks ago now, from the governor's office that we've been awarded the Stanford Avenue Safety Trail Crossing Recreational Trails Grant that we applied for last May. So this is just us signing the letter saying that we are still want to accept that grant. And then we will go through the process of finalizing the application and sending in all the additional information over the next couple of months. I think it'll probably be at least a year from now before we're actually provided the funding for this grant. So it'll be a while before the project takes place. It's kind of similar to the Parks grant we were awarded last year about this time. So we'll bring more information as it is provided to us. But at this point, we just need to sign this letter saying we do accept the $96,000 grant. We'll have to match it with $24,000, but that can be also in-kind labor and materials. Probably do some earthwork with city staff to make up for some of that. And we'll budget that in the FY23 budget.
Do we hear a motion?
I'll move to pass Resolution 2022-03-2809, the Stanford Avenue Crossing.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Holland, thank you, ma'am. Discussion?
Good job.
Yeah,
Nice
good
work.
job. I don't know who walks over there. I like to walk, and it's like playing chicken running across the road. So thank you for working on that.
Hearing no further comments, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 16 is resolution number 2022-03-28-10. This is with respect to parking management initiative proposal. Mr. Morgan, I'm interested in this one.
Yes, we've had a lot of concerns lately from citizens about the parking downtown. I got a lot of feedback during the latest streetscape stakeholder meeting that I had about how this project in general is going to affect it, and just it's kind of come to a point we need to do something. So I got together with police and codes, and we discussed what the next step needs to be to move us forward. And we decided to meet with CenterWorks to ask them to handle the community input on the future of our parking downtown. So we met with them a couple weeks ago and kind of reviewed how their approach, which I think they came to a commission meeting, the one I wasn't at, and did a presentation to you all about their approach, how their approach could be used in this situation. They're really excited about it. They're going to spend this summer using interns to talk to people about downtown parking, people that park downtown, people that have businesses downtown, people that own property downtown. And then they'll present a report to us in August at what has come out of their process, which is recommendations about things we can do to improve it. And so, you know, we're trying to keep an open mind about where this could go, whether it's, you know, it's really just an overall, how do the citizens of Danville want parking to work downtown? And then from there, we'll come up with a plan. We really wanted this to be, especially from the discussions I've had about it, it doesn't look like this is something they want the city staff telling them how it's going to work. So we really wanted to let the community help us build the solution to this instead of us just pushing a solution just on what we thought would work. So I'm excited about it. I'm hoping that we get something really thoughtful and unique to our community out of it. That's what we talked about, hiring a parking consultant, but, you know, we're probably just going to get copy and paste whatever they did in the last town our size and hand it to us. So we think this will be a very unique solution to us. And so they're asking for a fee of $15,000 to hire those summer interns. So that's what we're here tonight to ask for approval for that $15,000.
Do I hear a motion?
I move for approval of Resolution 2022-03-2810.
Thank you, Commissioner Cottle. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Atkins, further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So are they going to help give ideas about how to configure parking? What are they going to do exactly?
I think the results that will come out of this are less to do with the physical space of parking, but it could. I think there's a discussion of surface lots, of on-street parking, of parking garages, how people utilize those. But I think it's going to be more about parking management as far as what we charge, where we charge, how we charge. It's going to be more of a operational discussion than it will be physical space. Now, one of the solutions that may come out of that is we need more parking spaces, which then leads to the discussion of garages and those kind of physical improvements. But it's mostly about how we manage parking. I think signage is a big part that I want to get into with it. But that's we're going to kind of keep, like I said, try to keep an open mind about what the solutions actually are to the problem.
Okay, there may be some meters somewhere, the electronic meters on a lot or
Yes.
something like that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Key for us is we do, the city, as city staff goes, we don't have a strong opinion on how it's supposed to function. What we hear is what the community says, which is we don't like it. So the goal is to create some comprehensive, acceptable solution that gives the city direction on what it needs to do. And so we're trying to listen. That's our goal, is to hear what the community wants, hear what the expectations are, and try to accommodate that.
Right. I just didn't know what was meant by the word management. So, yeah, that clarifies it. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I just want to thank Josh for using local resources to, work on this local downtown parking issue, so thank you.
No further comments. Chair will call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 17 is resolution number 2022-03-28-11. This is a consultant selection for street design. Continue, Mr. Morgan.
Yes, the city sent out a request for qualifications for design firms that could assist the city with street design, street and road design. We received 2 proposals, one from Palmer Engineering and one from Prime AE. A small selection committee of staff met and reviewed them, and we are recommending that we choose Palmer Engineering due to, they have extensive experience in the state of Kentucky in highway design. Choosing them, and we will work with them on scoping kind of initial projects and fees and bring those back to you all at a later date to approve their fees. The primary project that we'll probably start working on immediately is that Southern Connector Road that has to do with deals with railroad property that we've discussed with the railroad in the past. And there's some other smaller projects that we'll work on it over time as the need arises. And this will all be funded out of municipal aid funds.
Do I hear a motion for the resolution?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2022-03-2811.
Thank you, Commissioner Hollins. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Atkins, thank you, sir. Discussion?
I just want to disclose that my son-in-law works for Palmer Engineering. This is not his heart of Palmer, so I don't think that should preclude me from voting, but I thought I should disclose that fact.
Better safe than sorry, right?
Yep.
We would like to also add, if we may, that, we want to use this company to help us on projects as we communicate with the state. We want them to go participate with us and improve that communication with the Transportation Cabinet and help us seek ways to support the county when the county needs to communicate about the communication plan. What resources can we bring to bear to improve access to state dollars to support local transportation issues? And so we want to use them. That's one of the things that we will lean on. We would like to lean on them for, to provide a broader influence.
Any further discussion, comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Do we have an item 18? Okay, good. That concludes our agenda items for tonight. Mr. Coffey, do we have need for an executive session?
Personnel.
Personnel. Then Chair will entertain a motion to move into executive session for personnel.
I guess I'll do it. I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to KRS 618101F.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Oh, it got to be second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Cottle. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Before we depart, I want to say something real quick. These two gentlemen down here, these two young gentlemen down here have brought tremendous strides to this community and to this commission. I want to thank you both for what you do and for what you've done, and look forward to seeing what you continue to do in the future. But I want to recognize you all for great work, really do.
What two young men?
Very
And,
nice.
and secondly, I want to wish Janet Hamner a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, call those two young men out by name.
Huh?
Call them out by name, the two young men.
Oh, I'm sorry, Josh Morgan
Yeah, there you go.
and Marshall Carrier.
Yes, okay.
Mayor, thank you for saying that. We appreciate you acknowledging that. We try to tell them they do a great job, but we appreciate you all saying that. And, they have a lot of burden, and they just get thrown a lot of stuff. And Josh shakes his head.
I was just telling
When he walks
someone,
by, he hears something else he has to do.
I was just
Sometimes
telling
it's a random
someone
call.
the other day about Marshall, and he came in so quietly. And he is a quiet person anyway, but he came in so quietly, no one even knew he was here. And
That's the way I like it.
that's a good thing, because we never skipped a beat, and actually, we've only improved since you've been here.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And I speak for Josh too, but we've got some people that provide really good support for us too. So the folks behind the scenes, they really help us, so.
Takes a team.
Yes.
Everyone have a good evening. We will move into executive session.
Oh.
To move back into regular session.
Thank you, Commissioner Holland. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Terry, thank you, ma'am. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, like sign. We're in regular session. Mr. Coffey.
Thank you, Mayor Commissioners. Staff is recommending the hiring of Aaron Steele to the position of certified police officer.
Do you hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion is made and seconded by Commissioner Cardle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Continue, sir.
Staff is recommending the hiring of Caden Gravacchio to the position of police officer recruit.
Do you hear a motion?
So moved.
We have the
Second.
dynamic duo speaking as one voice, and that is Commissioner Terry and Commissioner,
I'll take a second.
and he'll take the second as well. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Everyone have a good evening.
Check
Good
out the
job
time.
for all
Check
that
out the time.
big agenda.
Huh?